Well, this is actually quite a weird phenomena. I'm sitting here talking to a computer. This is also quite a weird thing. It's like every week, twice a week, I've got this set up times. I'll sit here and I talk to the computer. And we act as if it's really normal. Or I act as if it's really normal just to sit here talking to myself. And then I have some sort of questions that come through the computer or on Skype, and then I answer them like it's really super normal. You can think of anything like that. Like you can get your mind screwed up over anything, like how weird things are. I mean, eating and going to the toilet is quite a weird thing. It's like a car putting in the petrol. It's fantastic. I love the activity of it. I love thinking about food. I love thinking about what I'm going to eat. I love preparing it. I love eating. I love making my drinks. But then it comes out the other end. Like we use up all the stuff that keeps us going, and then it comes out the other end, which is also a very pleasurable affair. But we're not allowed to talk about that. All of us do it, but we're not allowed to talk about it. Like everything is so abstract in a way. I remember when I was a teenager, and I used to find it particularly difficult to go to family dances. It was like, we always used to seem to have these family dances. It used to be like a once a month occurrence. It would be somebody's party and we'd have a disco. And it's like you'd go and all the same things would happen at every party. You know, the same similar conversations about the weather, moaning about this or that or your partner. And then the similar dance music, the Macarena would come on and everyone suddenly like boop 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 boop, and we all act as if it's the most normal thing and the lights are flashing and we're all like, yeah, this is really normal. Screw the fact that we're floating in a ball in the middle of infinite space and we don't know why we're alive, but we're like doing the Macarena. It's fine. It used to like trip me out as a teenager. And everyone else found it so normal. If I tried to say anything, then they'd get annoyed with me, so I wouldn't say anything. Best not to say things to anyone about the weirdness of life. Just how bizarre it is. And then we follow all these rules, like that evolution exists and that we're human and we've got all these rules in being human. And it's so brilliant, this subject, because in a way what it is it's not a human that wakes up, but it's like all the illusions of the mind stop being super important and they relax and then something else is seen. So it's like everything that you took as important, as you took as real, as you took as meaning something, suddenly doesn't have that importance or that grip and doesn't seem as real as it did. And then it's seen that you're not experiencing life. Life is being experienced by something else. Like even you is a weird phenomena or a weird idea. The idea of you. Like that we were taught this language. We were taught the concept of you. We were taught the concept of me, and we are friends, we're not friends, we're in a relationship forever, we're not in a relationship forever. All these constructs we were taught, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the functioning of a human. But then we take it to be the reality of this world. Like I am somebody looking at this world. But imagine if you weren't taught that. Imagine if you grew up in the jungle and you never saw another human. Would you be a you that's looking at the world? And who would this you be? Who would we be? We'd be doing the Macarena, whatever it's called, Macarena, in the jungle by ourselves with the wolves that had become our family. I didn't pinch that story from anywhere, did I? I'm writing a fantasy book at the moment. I always have to be writing something, and originally what I started in was playwriting, And then last year someone said, why don't you write a novel? And I was like, I can't write a novel. I write dialogue, I write scripts. I don't have good English. I can't even spell properly. I'm dyslexic. I can't write a novel. And then they were like, but why don't you open up to the possibility you could? Maybe it's just that stands in the way. So then I thought about this, and I thought what I like about writing a novel rather than a play or a script is that I don't need anyone else involved. With a script, other people have to produce it for you, and you might not have the same vision. So then I started thinking about it and was like, well, I can write dialogue. So why don't I write the whole novel as if it's different characters in a play speaking? So that's what I did. That's what I'd done. And I would say I'm over halfway through it. The first book is most probably, I don't know if it'll end at the first book, but the first story, the first big story. And it's all told from the perspective of animals. I've got like 2 or 3 main animals. It's super cool. I love it. So I have a wolf dog as main character that is similar to Khaleesi. And I have a very fat cat, orange cat. It's similar to this one. I will show you. Oh no, I'm most going to get barred from YouTube if I try to show you. Oh, I know, I can show you through the phone. Like this cat. Okay. Like that cat. And of course, it's all about non-duality, just in fantasy format. It's very exciting. It's really, really abstract. There's lots of very abstract things that happen. There's something very exciting happening at the moment that I can't tell you about because it will ruin it for you if you ever want to read it. I really want to tell you. It's about eating. But that's as... Okay, we've got to change the subject because otherwise I'm going to say it. I got that all out of sync, that little dance. So who is it now that looks at me? Who? My friend used to go to me, who is the finger pointing at? And I was like, me, you moron. I used to think inside of my head, I didn't say it out loud. I'd be like, me, it's pointing at me. Jesus. I couldn't understand what he meant, but it is very profound. Who is the finger pointing at? There is nobody inside your body. It's a mental construct that makes it feel that way. But there is nobody hearing my words. There is nobody moving the arm. There is nobody appearing to choose. There is nobody wiggling their shoulders. There is nobody choosing anything. It's happening. Life is happening for no reason that you could possibly imagine, because anything you possibly imagine fits into only your limited mental constructs. Although I did name the talk today that the only possible motivation, purpose of this life is love, which I also agree with and stand by, that the only possible motivation is love. I mean, what else could it be? But not love like you're imagining it, and everyone will imagine it differently because everyone will have different chemicals associated with love. And I mean a love that doesn't contain a chemical. A chemical is something that's seen and experienced in this world. I mean a love that's much greater and bigger than that. And maybe you could say it has a feeling or a taste of what we know in the human world as love, but it's way beyond that. It's this still presence that's experiencing itself. And we all know it, it's just we get it confused with forms. And we get it confused with forms because the forms bring us pleasure, and when we get pleasure, we stop seeking for another moment than what's actually happening. And when we stop seeking for another moment, then there's a remembering of the love that we are right here, right now, where everything's coming from. The seeking always makes you feel like there's something missing, so you keep moving to the future. And then you taste pleasure and suddenly you're not seeking for the next moment. So when you meet the perfect stranger and you decide that you want to kiss them on their lips and rip all their clothes off, in that moment you don't want to be anywhere else. You're totally in that moment, and in the moment of touching their lips or their skin or looking in their eyes, there is just total intimacy with what's happening. And in that intimacy, it's remembered who you are, but not by anyone. So later you don't remember it. It's just this immense feeling of love. Later your mind says, I love them. Then you begin to hate each other because you put it into forms, into opposite, and with love comes hate. There are crows in my tree. I like crows. The animals come here because Khaleesi eats lots of bones. I like the animals coming here. Khaleesi, though, is happily guarding the garden at the moment, making sure they don't actually land. Get any of her bones. Nope, she's not here. Which is all abstract. You eat an animal. We're so removed from our environment that most people can't even admit that they eat animal. They're like, I eat a beef. I eat a beef. A beef's not an animal. I eat pork. Pork's not an animal. Oh, pig is it? Beef. I'm not eating the flesh of a cow. I'm not criticising for that, although I have to say I'm a vegetarian. Want to be vegan, and I do struggle with the cheese, especially when it's on top of pizza or Haagen-Dazs ice cream or Ben & Jerry's ice cream, but we attempt. My motivation is that I want to be a vegan. If you try, most of the time we are, but then a tenth of the time we're not. Cheese. But anyway, just as I was saying that you do eat a cow. You know, beef is actually a cow. It's actually the flesh of an animal which bleeds and feels pain and has babies, has sex, poops, enjoys their food. Most people do actually eat that, but they can't associate it in their brain because they just buy it in this plastic thing, and in their brain it's like, yeah, it's beef and it comes from a plastic thing and out of a shopping bag. And I don't really disagree with it, actually. I disagree with the factory farming. I think it's quite natural that we eat animals. That's just what we do. Maybe I think if we don't have to, then maybe we would become a nicer species if we didn't. I think eating meat brings out a very predator side. But, you know, I don't know really. I'm not sure. I don't know anything. I don't know anything really. But anyway, back to the subject. You eat an animal in which when it was killed, blood came out of it, and it was once alive, but you don't know what was alive. What is it that was alive inside that cow? Maybe you don't even want to think about this. You're like, oh, Lisa, please stop. I'm going to turn it off. This is a terrible subject. But just think about the weirdness of this life, how weird this dream is, that we, in order for our bodies, our machines to go, we have to take the blood out of another animal or electrocute it or kill it in some way and then eat its flesh. Or we can eat sausages that are made out of soya beans, which is also very abstract because they kind of grow out of thin air. You put the plant in the ground, it sucks. We did 100, 200 years ago, we might not even known how that grew. But now scientists tell us, but we're not really sure about it, but scientists tell us it's not magic. What that plant is doing, that grows as a soybean plant, is sucking out minerals and food from the ground and growing from that. But that's what we're told by scientists, and we're told if we put on the pH stuff and the N stuff, I've forgotten what it's called, the fertilizing stuff, the N and the pH, then it will grow quicker and more, and certain ones will make it flower more and have more peas. That's again abstract. I mean, yeah, we're told that we feed it and it grows from the ground, it's taking minerals from the ground, but it could also be magic. It could be really that it's just magic, it's just appearing out of thin air, looking like it's growing from something in the ground, but actually it's just forming from the air like magic. Or we could see that as magic even, that it has the ability to eat from the ground and grow like that. That is also abstract. And where is it that the plant ends and the ground ends and the ground begins? The same with us. Where is it that we end and the food ends? We put in this beef and now you're a cow. I'm a vegetable. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a vegetable. I'm not a pig. I'm not a cow. I'm not any other animal. I'm a vegetable with a little bit of dairy, sometimes some fish. So you're a... No, it goes out as poop. My body is human. But maybe that cow doesn't all go out as poop and then it's growing you. Like the plant comes from the earth, you come from the pig or the cow. Yeah, I think it'd be more intelligent to eat vegetables. I think that getting the brains of a cow or a pig is not something to aspire for. But the point is where do we end and where do we begin? What defines us? If we're growing from this cow or pig that we put inside of us, and then we're growing like magic from that, and then we're excreting the stuff that doesn't need to be used, if that is the case, then what are we? Who is this solid soul that you so adamantly claim to? This soul that's inside this body that's growing from all other things around us. And if we get a microscope and keep going into us, it's like fractals that go on infinitely. We can't find where we end. But we haven't got a microscope, so we can't really prove that one. But if you stop eating, you will disappear. I can tell you that. So you need the cow, the pig, the soya. But I'm a human, and I'm separate from everything else around me. I am independent and I am experiencing, but what is this thing experiencing? Because who you imagine yourself to be is an image of your body, and if your body is made up of all the things you eat, then who is this one that's experiencing life? When you imagine yourself inside the brain, I assure you, you imagine your current body, but that doesn't belong to you. It's something that's growing from everything else around you. So what is experiencing? Well, it's a soul inside. But what about thoughts? Thoughts are also like food growing the body. They're taught from you to you from the outside, so you can't be a thought either. It's just that we don't eat thoughts. It's that somebody says it to us, just like I'm saying to you, and then they sort of go in there and it's eaten by the brain. And some of them stick and some of them don't. So is a thought you? If you didn't have any humans that brought you up and you lived in the middle of the jungle, would you think? And if you didn't think and you weren't able to think about yourself, then who would you be then? Well, would you be everything because everything was what you experienced? If you didn't have the idea that I am something inside this, then you wouldn't have the energy that makes it feel like you're something inside of this. So you'd feel like everything that's in your experience. So as you ate the cow, although if you lived in a jungle, it's unlikely that a cow would just walk by, but you ate the lizard would be you. You'd be eating yourself. So when you killed it, you'd kill it with so much respect, because you'd be eating yourself. You wouldn't make it grow up where it can't turn around, where it can't run. You would treat it with infinite love and compassion, because that was you. And as you put it in, you'd be eating yourself, so it'd be absolute love. Boom boom doom boom doom boom 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 doom boom 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 Macarena. I think I got it right that time. Okay, we'll turn to questions now because I seem to have lost anything to talk about. Hey guys! Hey guys! Hey Thomas! Hi Asbon! Hi Monica! Hi Zas! Hi Etya! Hi Chris! Hi Fabio! Hi Vadios! Hi Malfred! Hi Lisa! Normal weirdness is all the eye of the beholder, Lelo. Whoa, that's Garfield. Can't wait to read this novel. Super interesting having it told via animals. Yeah. It's really... One of them, I told you this, one of them's a wolf dog. Oh God, it's so cool. I get very excited writing it, although I can't write it for very long periods each day. I can only do a couple of hours. As a vegan, finally got rid of cheese. Dairy was definitely the hardest part. Also the social part in terms of differing in ways of eating from all friends and family. I'm fine with it no matter. Yeah, my parents had to put up with it since I was 8. So I'm so used to being bullied, ridiculed. In fact, it doesn't really happen anymore. Everyone just knows it. I've been a vegan on and off since I was 8. But I can never really stick to the veganism. I sometimes can stick for it for years and then it breaks again on the cheese. I aspire. Yeah. I think as a woman it's a lot easier. My dad used to get teased no end. And my brother's a veggie and he gets teased as well. I think as a woman it's way more acceptable. The hardest part is that I think that people that eat meat think you're judging them. Whereas I don't actually feel like that. Even when I say these words, I don't feel like I do judge people. I would love a world in which everyone's kind and fair to each other, but I'm also very realistic. And also, you know, it is my kind of world, as in like everything I see is my brain, so who am I really judging? Juna. Hi, Juna. A friend of mine used to work at oh gosh, wonderful, a slaughterhouse. And when he told me, oh no, I don't want to know. I'm all right. Thanks, Juna. Could eat enlightened guru. He. Yeah. Well, Asborn, I think you might have had some telepathic waves happening there, because something like that might happen in my novel. Remember I said it was about eating? Yeah, I'm so grotesque and abstract as well.